This conference will now be recorded.
Crow's feet, wrinkles, and even the lines between your eyes. The way to use.
Okay. Hold on, I just need to mute some people. Please,
You're not muted. Oh, you did. Okay, go ahead.
just keep an eye on your mute button, and if you see that perhaps you've accidentally unmuted yourself, could you just keep yourselves muted? If you have a question,
Put it in the chat box.
at any point, you can put it in the chat box, and we'll be taking a peek at that as we go through the training this morning, and hopefully we'll be able to address everyone's questions as we go along. So,
Again, welcome to MyTeachstone training. We had to hit the reset button.
okay, Bridget wants to restart. So reset. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for committing to spending your next hour and a half with us as we go over our MyTeachstone system and the capabilities that it offers us as an agency. This is a kind of side-by-side training this morning. So we're going to give a brief overview of MyTeachstone and why it's important, which is what the PowerPoint presentation is. And then I'm going to jump into the system itself. And I'm going to jump in as a teacher first, and then I'm going to switch and jump in as a supervisor or administrator, because this is a system that is used agency-wide by teachers, by coaches, by supervisors, by managers. So we want to make sure that everybody understands what they are able to do in this system, no matter what their role. Okay, so
What we should point out, even though it seems obvious, is every teacher has a license for this system.
yes, yep. Everybody has a license for this system, and we do pay heftily for that.
Mhm.
So that's why we want to make sure that, we are making the most of, the capabilities that this system has to offer us. So for those of you who might not know what MyTeachstone is, it is an online system created by the makers of the class tool, which is TeachStone, and it is designed to deliver on the promise of class. And class is the assessment tool that we as an agency use to assess our EHS as well as HS classrooms. And it is also the assessment tool used by the Office of Head Start when they come out and do the class observations as part of the federal review. And those are done in our Head Start classrooms. So MyTeachstone also leverages observation data to promote professional learning among coaches, administrators, and teachers. Okay, so that's why we want to make sure that everybody has an understanding of what this system can do. It was built on strong research foundations that emphasize 6 key principles, all with the purpose of supporting teacher growth. So I'm going to briefly go over each of these 6 key principles before we actually jump in to the system. So the first principle is use of coaching to support the transfer of practice, frequent contact between coaches and teachers and supervisors, those strong relationships, group involvement in professional development, using video for professional development, and then individualizing coaching using data. So the first key principle is the use of coaching to support the transfer of practice. So over the past 10 or 15 years or so, there has been a big movement away from more of those workshoppy, large group professional development trainings that some of us here at Children First, if you've been here for a while, were used to several years ago. And we're moving towards more of a individualized professional development practice, because we learn that that has a stronger link between what teachers learn in professional development and then being able to transfer that into their classroom, putting it into practice. So a lot of studies have demonstrated that coaching is more of an effective means of helping teachers improve their interactions and boost
Not sharing screen.
child outcomes. Oh, it's not sharing the screen.
1 second. It says we are sharing. Can someone unmute themselves and let us know if you can see the screen, the slides?
Yes, I can see it.
Thank
Yes,
you.
I can see it.
Okay, thank you. We just want to make sure everyone can see it. If for some reason you're not seeing it right now, just remember, if you want to go back and view this, it is being recorded, so it'll be housed on the Children First YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I'll send a link next week with all of the recordings.
Okay, all right. So again, coaching has become more of an effective means of helping teachers improve their interactions and boost child outcomes. Coaching is a key means for transferring newly learned skills into practice. So instead of going to a large group training, taking what you learned, going back to your classroom and trying to implement it on your own, getting individualized professional development from your coach, one-on-one, having your coach there to support you in your classroom as you try to implement these newly learned skills is being shown to be more effective than those larger group trainings. I'm trying to switch. Okay. So the second key principle is having frequent contact between coaches and supervisors and the teachers. One reason that they have come to learn traditional professional development activities like workshops, like those large group trainings, are often ineffective is that they don't provide a large enough dose to result in real teacher change. So you sit in this training for a few hours and then you're expected to just go back to your classroom and put it into action. And research has shown that that's an unreasonable expectation of teachers. And so you may or may not know that Head Start, when they changed their standards several years ago, actually mandated coaching as a professional development tool for teachers. So they are very much at the forefront of these changes. And we here at Children First, jumped on that bandwagon as soon as we could and instituted our PBC, practice-based coaching program here. So again, research is showing that providing ongoing, frequent professional development, the contact between the coach and the teacher in the classroom, is really what's helping teachers work on those very specific learning goals, and it's more valuable than those large, group trainings or workshops. So selecting a set of goals for professional development, giving teachers opportunities to work towards those goals throughout the year are the best way to promote more effective teaching practices. MyTeachstone comes into play because they support the frequency and the intensity of professional development by encouraging frequent contact between teachers and coaches. Teachers and coaches have visibility into progress across all of the recommended online content in the system, and we'll get to all of that content, how to access the library of resources that are there, and not even have to wait for your coach or supervisor to do so. I'm going to show you guys this morning how you can access those things on your own as well. So coaches and administrators can also easily view the frequency of the activities within the system. So you can go in and see what it is that your teachers might be searching for and viewing. You can also make recommendations and then see that they were completed.
Right, we also would purchase this system not only to increase class scores and correspond with coaching, but this can also be utilized in the individual professional development plans
Yes.
that supervisors work with the teachers on quarterly.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you. All right, so the third key principle are those strong relationships that are built between the teacher and the coach and the supervisor and the coach. So we all know that positive teacher-coach and teacher-supervisor relationships provide a foundation for teachers to learn and adopt new practices. Very much like we tell teachers in the classroom that before you're going to get a child to do anything for you, you need to build that relationship, right? So this is built on that same premise. Those of you who participate in practice-based coaching or have in the past and have experience, you know that there are times that us as your coaches are asking you to change some practices, to adopt some new practices, to trust us and try these things out. So we need to build that relationship with you guys before we can ever expect that you're going to do anything we ask you to do, right? So, you always just, again, we always tell you guys, whenever you're asking the children to do something, explain the why behind it, right? So, we do that when we're building these relationships with you. We're trying to get you to understand the why behind some of these skills and why we're asking you to do them. So MyTeachstone, again, helps support with the tools and the technology. Okay, so we can, recommend and send things for you in there. We can create small groups of teachers who might be working towards the same goals and on the same practice so that you guys can come together, virtually in this system and maybe talk about a video, share some personal things that have worked for you in the classroom. There's so much capability in this system for building relationships. And so again, we're gonna talk about that once we jump into the system in just a bit. The fourth key principle is group involvement in professional development. So I imagine that we all know working as a preschool teacher can be very stressful. It can also feel very isolating sometimes, feeling like you're alone, in your classroom out on this island. And that stress can negatively affect the relationships that you guys form with the children in your care. Preschool teachers also have an alarmingly high turnover rate, okay? So, and again, that has negative consequences and impacts on the children in the classroom when there are constant changes. So group participation in professional development really helps to reduce that feeling of isolation, okay? So this kind of goes back to what I was saying at the tail end of the previous slide, is that we can utilize this system to help teachers also come together within MyTeachstone, so that even though you might not be seeing these people in person right now, you know that you can share your thoughts, you can share your ideas, you can ask questions within this system to the people that you are, part of the group with. So another way is that there are study groups, and we can also create professional learning communities within this system. Again, that's something that happens on the supervisor administrator side, so we'll go over that as well. 5, so the fifth key principle is the use of video to focus the teacher's professional lens. And so classrooms are a very complex place, right? Every day you guys are dividing your time between 1,000,001 demands, right? So, and giving your attention to a variety of different places. Because of this complexity that happens in classrooms, we know that it's impossible for you guys to give equal focus to everything that occurs throughout your day. So part of becoming an expert teacher is learning how to focus your attention on what are the truly important demands that happen in your classroom, okay? And how to make the most of those moments, okay? Those interactions that occur every day in your classroom. So what Teachstone has the capability of doing is helping teachers develop that professional lens, helps teachers develop the understanding and see what those important moments are through the use of video, okay? And that's video of other classrooms. So the video library on the MyTeachstone website houses hundreds of videos of real life, actual early childhood classrooms. For those of you who've been through MMCI training, whether infant, toddler, or preschool, you know videos are a huge part of that training. Watching those videos and really looking for those deep interactions that are occurring in classrooms, being able to pick out the difference between what's important and what's not important when you're looking at those videos, which will then help you realize what's important in your own classroom versus what might be a little less important and what can wait till later.
And one of the things that we are looking to do on a more frequent basis is actually videotaping the coachees.
Yes.
Because we've gotten feedback through the years about the videos. Well, that's not my classroom. They don't know what's going on in my room. That's a set up, staged classroom. So really they're not, but they are most part exemplar videos. And because, you know, that was feedback we were receiving, we want to make certain that we are creating our own videos of teachers for exemplar videos. So if you're asked to be videotaped for our own personal video library, I know people get, you know, afraid of that at the offset, but, you know, really it's a tool that we want to use to be able to focus your professional lens on your own self in action. So be prepared when the coaches come around and say, I'm going to video your focused observation, you know, next week. It's not to be gotcha, and it's not to be alarming to you. It's really eye-opening when you see yourself in action, so that we can utilize it as a growth and development tool.
And on that same token, you know, we also as coaches have been talking about, you know, just going in and videotaping, you know, portions of a classroom's day where they may be really executing, you know, a great morning meeting or a great small group time, or they have really effective transitions. And so we want to get, you know, video segments of those things as well, so that we can house them. And, you know, if you might be struggling with something like that, you can go on and watch a video of, you know, one of our very own Children First teachers who's found, you know, a successful way to implement that.
And another thing to keep in mind, it's also if you as a coachee are struggling, we might videotape the segment of the transition. Say you're struggling in transitions, and Andrea or Lauren or Colleen might go in and say, okay, well, I'm going to videotape it so we can really break this down and look at it and see if we can see where the struggle is. So it's not just exemplar videos, it's also you might be videotaped because you're really struggling or having a challenge with a piece or a part of your daily routine.
Right, it's always easier for an outside observer to see something. So when you're in it and you're living that really bad transition, and then you're trying to figure out what's going wrong, it's really difficult for you to see that. Whereas when somebody comes in and they're observing with that outside lens, they can see a little bit easier what the issue might be, what might be going wrong. And so if we videotape that and you get to watch that, you are now becoming that outside observer. And so your mind is a little bit clearer, and you might be able to pick up on, you know, those things that are happening that are causing, you know, this ineffective transition to be happening.
Video is a very powerful tool. Do you want to stop just to see if there's any questions in the chat box at this point?
Sure.
We can't see the chat box.
I have to open it.
Yeah, let's just see. Any chat, well, 67, but I think that's people checking in. Yeah. Okay. It looks like everybody is basically, yeah. Signed in, no questions just yet.
All right, so then we're gonna move on to the last key principle, which has to do with data-driven individualized supports. Again, moving away from those large group workshop-y type trainings that were the basis of, a lot of the professional development for educators over the years, to more individualized support. And in order to make it individualized, we need to know what the needs are, right, for every specific teacher. So that we understand what you guys need, we have to collect some data. Right. So we collect data through our needs assessments, which you guys complete at the beginning of every school year, where you rate yourselves on a variety of teaching practices and skills. We utilize your class data, so the observations that occur. And your class data, by the way, is also stored in our MyTeachstone system and utilized by the coaches and supervisors. It's not something that the teachers have access to on your side, but coaches and supervisors and managers do.
Share that.
Yes, and they share that with you. You should always be getting your report. This system generates really great reports for us that can be shared with you guys so that you can, read through the observer notes, look for those really great moments and look for the areas where you might need to work and develop some more refined teaching practices. So we collect that data so that we can properly tailor your needs. And individualizing support based on the observation data provides us preliminary evidence, okay, that can individualize the approach that your coaches take with you, that your supervisor takes with you, when you have your team meetings, when they're working on your ippy-dippies. And so it gives us the information that we need so that we can tailor the support that you need in your classroom to you. And it's not just, again, those big giant group like one and done trainings and now take this and go back to your classroom and I'm going to come in next week and observe and I want to see you putting it into action.
It's right? Not cookie cutter. It's not one size fits all.
No, it is not at all. So in short, that is the 6 key principles of MyTeachstone. And for those of you that may be new, have not accessed MyTeachstone yet, what you're seeing on the screen is the web address for Teachstone. It's just simply teachstone.com. And so I am going.
We have a question in the chat box.
Okay, let me stop sharing my screen right now because we're gonna come out of the PowerPoint anyway. So
further down.
Down.
What if you seriously cannot watch yourself? Well, that will be something that your coach will definitely work with you on. We're not just going to show up with a video camera one day. There will be some talk about it. If you've got a fear about this, know that this is all in service to your professional development. And the video, just like the focused observation, would only occur in the moment that your coach is coming out to watch you work on that particular goal. Okay. So we'll help you get over the fears.
All right, so I just opened up the MyTeachstone website, and so I'm going to share my screen again. So this morning, we're going to start with the teachers, classroom, education staff, and what an account for you would look like and what you're able to do in this system. So Casey Hull, one of our teachers over at the Dalvac Center, has been kind enough to allow me to use her account this morning to go through this with you guys. So thank you very much, Casey. So when you get to the page, it's going to look like that. You're going to click login. And because I had already logged in as Casey earlier, it's coming back up. But it'll ask you for your email address and for your password. So let's talk about that first. Everybody entered into this system has been entered with your children's first email address, okay? And then if you've already been in this system, once you're put into the system, you get an auto-generated email from MyTeachstone. And it has a link for you to go and to access your account, to create a password for yourself. And initially, the first time you go in, there's a few steps that you need to go through. There's a little like couple of minute video that you need to watch that kind of just talks about, you know, what MyTeachstone is. And then once you get through that part, every time you log in, you're going to get a screen that looks just like this. So this happens to be Casey's dashboard. Yours will have, you know, your own name there when you log in, okay? So there are some tiles right here that you can access, and then there are some things across the top. Some of them are the same as the tiles, but there's one that is different, okay? So when you come in here, we'll just start and we'll go through every tile, okay? So we're gonna start with observation data. And so like I mentioned before, you guys in this system are not able to access your observations. What you can do is just see what observations have occurred. So when you come to the observation page, you're going to look over here where it says completed 1. Okay, and if I click on that, it's going to bring you to this classroom. So Casey and her coworker Jesse's classroom, you can see had an observation back in March of 2021, and it tells you who the observer is. Okay, but that's as far as this goes for you guys, but at least you can keep track and see the observations that have occurred in your classroom. The upcoming or in progress would be if you are a teacher who happen to also be an observer, okay, and you have some observations that you have upcoming to complete or some in progress that you're entering your data on. But at this point, I don't think we have any teachers at this time who are also reliable observers.
So if a teacher was, like say Colleen, it's the time that we're going to do early Head Start class observations again, and she's got Casey's classroom and she's in progress. Would Casey see in progress for her?
Yes.
So it's not just if you are an observer,
No.
you could go in and see if somebody was currently
Upcoming,
working.
you would know that one was scheduled and you'd be able to click on it and see the date. It still looks very much just like this tile. So even though it looks like you can click on it, like it has movement when I move the mouse, it doesn't do anything when you click.
And if you, we make it a point to always have individual meetings with the teachers around their class scores. You should have copies of your reports. That is your data, your information. So for instance, if you come to this and for some odd reason you lost your report, you can always go to your coach who can access this, or your supervisor who can access this, and they can print out a new report for you.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna
Question.
go back. Okay. I can't see it. Hold on, I have a question, so I want to make it bigger so that I can see it. The primary 2 teachers in each classroom have accounts already and are expected to go into their account to complete recommended professional development, correct?
Correct.
Yes, and I'm going to talk about that, Patty, when I get to learning resources too. So thank you for bringing that up.
right? This is a system that is cyclical, right? So it all goes into professional development planning, performance appraisals, individual professional development plans. All of this ties into the overarching umbrella of an individual's staff and professional development. So when resources are being recommended, yes, teachers, there is an expectation that you will view it, you will do it, and then as Andrea said, we'll get to that, and you can clock those hours, which if you're a NAC accredited center, we have a minimum amount of professional development hours to track, as well as DCF. So it's a system that's all tied in for professional development.
Yep, and you can also print out a report of the resources and the trainings that you've done on here as well. So I'm gonna go to certification next. Oh, why? Okay, so just because as teachers, you guys wouldn't have any certifications, okay, at this point. Certifications are if you are a reliable observer. But there are some teachers that do become reliable observers, so that's why it is a part of your page. We don't currently have any at Children First.
And if you do, if this is an interest to you, you can reach out to me if you'd like to become a reliable observer, whether it be infant, toddler, or preschool, pre-K. Just reach out to me.
Okay. So I just wanted to see what that looks like. We're gonna go back home. So next we're gonna go to learning resources. So learning resources is the video and resource library. Okay, so this looks exactly the same whether you have a teacher account or you have a coach or administrator account as well. So when you're in here, you can see there are currently 1,095 total resources in this system right now. Okay, so when you're searching, if you know what you're looking for, you can just type in the box right here. So maybe you want some information on language modeling. You can go right up here and type in language modeling, and it's going to bring you some resources. Okay, did it work?
No, you didn't.
Oh,
you
it
forgot
did.
the L, but I don't think that made a difference today.
This keyboard stinks.
Yeah, you gotta press really hard.
Okay, enter. That's better. Okay, so, and in here, so that means that the videos that you're seeing, okay, have something to do with the dimension of language modeling, okay? Our learnabouts are really great resources. We recommend these as coaches a lot.
Tell them about the circles.
Oh,
the little labels.
Yes, so the little labels will tell you whether it is an infant, toddler, or pre-K resource, or all, okay? So like this one on effective teacher-child interactions has to do with all of them. This one right here with the little blue circle and Cookie Monster is for pre-K. The infant circles are green. The toddler circles are this reddish kind of color. So that kind of tells you what age group you're looking at. The learnabouts, and it tells you right here at the bottom what kind of resource it is. So this one right here with the video camera, you can see is a video, and then it tells you how long it is.
Can you go up a little bit? Because on the left-hand side, the type, you can go in and as well as you're filtering, if you only want to see videos.
Yeah.
If you only want to see links to websites, you only want a PDF handout, or if you want a course.
So let's say you're just in here and you're looking to learn more about class. I'm going to take off language modeling, okay? So then you can come over here to the left-hand side and you can say, well, maybe today I want to watch a video, okay? The little symbol here means links. So that means a link to a website will pop up and you click on it and it'll bring you out of MyTeachstone to an external link. This means PDF, okay? It's a document. And then this is a course. So like there are certain courses in here, the learnabouts are courses. They take a little bit longer to complete, anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. That means that it's interactive. There's probably a handout for you to complete when you see that something is a course. Okay, so you can click on the type that you want. If you want all of them, you can click all of them. Okay, but for this purpose, let's just say we're looking for a PDF. There are documents in here specific to dual language learners, specific to whether or not you are a family child care, which we are not. They have a partnership with Sesame Street. So they have a lot of different Sesame Street resources in here. You can choose your language. So I'm going to choose English. And now let's say you're a toddler teacher. So I'm going to select toddler. And now it's filtered for you what's in here. Okay. And then you can kind of go and look and see what you might want to participate in. Okay. And so it's really easy to filter. You can view as many of these resources as you want. Okay, there's no limit. You can go back and participate in a resource again and again and again.
Okay, so one of the things that I'd like to have you point out is you're talking about like teachers going in on their own, looking at this and finding it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about when a coach or a supervisor recommends.
Okay, so, and you'll see how that's done when I show you the coach and the administrator side, but we have the capability to send you guys resources. The system itself also has the capability of generating resources for you as soon as an observation is entered, okay? So whenever the observer goes in, they enter your information, your observation is submitted, it's accepted by either Bridget or I. The system then looks at your report. It sees what your scores were in each of the dimensions and domains, and the system itself will generate some resources for you.
And they get an email with it?
So you do get an email from Teachstone. You have to make sure that you check your junk or your spam folder. It was my understanding that iVenture was notified to let anything coming from MyTeachstone through, but there have been a couple of instances where teachers have told me that it's still gone to their junk email. So you want to check there too, because you will get an email. And then when you log into your Teachstone account, you're going to see this little bell right here. Okay, so this bell is your notifications tab. And right here you can see that Casey has a couple of notifications. Sometimes the notifications are sent from Teachstone, so I'm going to click on them. And this one is talking about, so these are some resources that Casey participated in. So right here you can see Andrea Lowe's recommended a resource. So that was me as their coach sending them something. Okay, and then when somebody goes on and comments on something that Casey was a part of, so this goes back to those groups I was talking about before. As coaches, we create groups of staff who might be working on the same goal, and so we're going to go in and send resources to multiple people. If we feel like it's going to be beneficial, we'll turn those people into a group. Okay, so then you guys can watch the resource or take the course, whatever it might be, and then you can go back and comment. You can ask a question, right? And so if you're a part of that, that group, you will get notifications, okay, that somebody has gone in and commented. You'll get the notification right here, like you can see that something has been recommended to you. So, but typically you should get that email from Teachstone.
So I have a question, just to pose a question. How often would you recommend, because we know teachers are busy, they view their own personal dashboard?
I would say once a week. I think once a week would be really beneficial. Like I said, a lot of these resources are really short and brief because they know that you guys are super busy in your classrooms all day and you don't have time. But, you know, if you've got some downtime at nap, you know, once a week, just go in, log on to see if you have any notifications, if something was recommended to you. And some of them take all of 3 minutes to get through. Probably the longest ones are those learnabouts, and they're a max of 15 minutes. Okay. All right. Then
Any questions about resources? I don't think we have any in the chat box.
No, I didn't see any pop up. Okay. Okay, so then also connected to this is your professional development. Okay, so this is where Casey can track what she's done. Okay, so these are some of the things that she's recently viewed. Okay, so it means she opened it, she started it, but she didn't finish it. And then there are the completed things, okay, that you can see. And again, just because you completed something doesn't mean that you can't go back and do it again.
So let's talk a little bit about, you're probably getting into it, like the dashboard there that's grayed out about the recommended and completed and the self-study hours.
This one right here? Yeah. So this again is just a way for Casey to track her professional development. When we get into the supervisor and coach role in this system, this is a lot more detailed. Reports can be generated. So your supervisor or your coach can print out a report of your professional development. So as your coach, if I recommend something to you and I log into my Teachstone account, I can then go and see if you've completed that recommended resource. So, you know, that's why we say check it once a week. See if somebody made a recommendation for you. Try and put, you know, the 10 or 15 minutes aside that it's going to take for you to complete that. Because your supervisor, like Bridget mentioned earlier, we have to report professional development hours for, you know, quality improvement. So we are NAC accredited at many of our Children First sites. Our
Look for the stars.
Yes, our agencies, our sites go through Look for the Stars. They require a certain number of professional development hours. A log has to be completed for each staff at every site. You know, yearly we have to show. This can count towards those professional development hours. And you can actually just print out a report that shows you what your teachers have done. And I think I just saw a question. Where does the supervisor recommend videos for staff on their portals? We're going to go into that, Sarah, as soon as we switch out of teacher and go into administrator. If there is a recommended resource for both classroom teachers to view, they should view it separately than instead of watching a video together. Yes, that's a great point. Trish, thank you very much. If you want to get credit for watching the video, you have to watch it in your own account. So, you know, it's great that teachers want to do these things together, but then only the teacher that pulled it up in their account and had it playing or went through it in their account is going to get
Credit.
the credit for that course being completed. Okay. So I'm going to go back home for a minute and we're going to go to community. So this is the class community page, and you automatically become a member of the class learning community when you are entered into the MyTeachstone system. Okay, so this is kind of like a blog. I don't know what all those fancy, you know, lingo is called, but so you go on here and you yourself can pose a question to the class community. If you have a question about something, you can type in the search box up here. If you have a question or you're trying to find out some information, you can do a search first and see if it was ever brought up in the class learning community before. And then you can come back in and click on it. So like, we'll just take a quick look at this one that says negative climate. And this is a discussion. So let's go look at the original message. And this person was asking about negative climate. And so they're talking about peer negativity are key to the scale. They're asking this question. And then somebody has responded. And there are Teachstone workers that run this community. So they are the people who can answer your question as well as other members of the community. If they are a employee of Teachstone, I'm trying to see where. Yeah, like you will see here, like this person doesn't have their photo on there. But if it's a Teachstone employee, they will always have a photo. It'll say their name, and then you'll see the Teachstone logo under their name.
If you go back out.
Did you see one?
You could probably see in the blog, like what all is going on, like that photo.
No, I'm gonna take a rain check. Yeah, so you can see some people have their photos. So like this Allison Bloomfield, she is a Keystone staff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they are identified. So if you ask a question, you know, it could be answered by another member of the community, but so they also monitor this community, and so they can also go in there and answer your questions. And because I clicked on her name, it brought me to her profile. So you can, you know, check out people, where they're from, what their experiences are. You could put yourself on there. You should put a picture of yourself on there, you know, if you feel comfortable to do so. So then there are also other groups besides the class community. If you have selected to join other groups and you want to get to them, you would click on the My Groups tab right here. Or if you want to see all of the groups that are available for you to be a member of, you would just click all groups and then you can go through. So there's an all things class group. There's a coaches and observers group, which I belong to. If you are a supervisor or manager, you can be a part of the administrators and leaders group. There's a teachers group. There's a group for CDA. Okay, there's a job board, but we want you to stay away from the job board. Okay, you can look at all of the other communities except for that one. Okay, because we'll be able to tell if we went there. I'm not kidding, we won't, but stay away from the job board. Okay, so you can go through, you can join other communities, and you can, you know, go on and pose questions, be part of discussions. Maybe you have an answer to somebody's question you can be a part of. It's just another
level of support.
Another level of support, another way to be connected outside of Children First. These are people from all over the world, okay, because the class observation is worldwide. It is translated into, I believe, 15 other languages, this tool. So there are people on here from around the world. So, you know, groups is a really great place if you've got a question, or, you know, you want to just go in and do a search and see what people are talking about. So that's the class community. I'm going to move up here to a training history. And if you have not gone through any trainings, okay, this page will be blank for you for right now. However, you can see that Casey went through MMCI training back in January of 2019. It tells you who her trainer was, which was me, and then her certificate is housed here. So if she, you know, had originally printed out her certificate, but she lost it and she needs to come back, okay, you go through your My Trainings tab, and if I click on this, Casey's certificate of completion is going to pop up. Okay. And now, hold on, because I need to get back. Hold on 1 second. How do I go back to where I was? I probably should not have done that. Hold on.
You can just do the
Back button. Let's see. Okay. So this is where in any other trainings, if she had taken, you know, they would show up.
In
here.
trainings, meaning from the resource library.
No, this is trainings with an actual trainer. So this
From
is
the class community or the Teachstone community, meaning you're part of the Teachstone community
Yes.
because you're a certified trainer.
Yep. If you took so she, you know, Casey could have gone outside somewhere and taken a training for, you know, Teachstone, and that would show up here as well. Some of our teachers have taken MMCI for both pre-K and infant and toddler. So if you go into your training history, then both of those will show up here and you'll have access to your certificates. Okay, so anything like MMCI, observer reliability, those are considered trainings. Okay, then we have also gone through some courses with MyTeachstone. And for those of you who remember the interactions at the Heart of Healing that we took a little over a year ago, that is found in your courses, okay? So that is one course thus far that has been offered here at Children First. And so when Casey comes in here, okay, she can find her things from her courses. There are some helpful resources in here for teachers, coaches, and parents. There is a, so here's the class learning community. That's like if you clicked on that, it would take you back. But there's some resources in here, in particular to infant, to toddler, to pre-K. There are blogs, Teachstone blogs by Teachstone workers who will go on and they'll blog about, you know, a specific dimension. They even sometimes bring them down as low as the indicator level. So all of this can be found under your courses. Okay. So then if she wants to find, okay, certificates for the things that she's done. So right here is the interactions at the Heart of Healing. Okay, so if she clicked on that, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to have to go back. Her certificate would show up. Okay, these are just some other things that Casey has gone through. So this all has to do with, these were all the pieces of interactions at the Heart of Healing. And then the last piece is your certificate. Okay, and you can print that out. So that's in my courses. I think that is everything in the teacher component of MyTeachstone. Does anybody have any questions about the teacher component of MyTeachstone?
Just have a question, you can put it in the chat box. How have you been utilizing your account, your dashboard? I'm just curious to see. I know we can go in and see who's been utilizing it, but if you haven't utilized it, I hope this is piquing your interest to get in and start, you know, looking around and gathering some time to conduct the learning resources and, you know, get your feet wet on it.
And if for some reason you have not been in a while or you've never been in yet, those emails that you get that are auto-generated are time sensitive. So if you go and you put in your children first email address, you can try using the forgot password link, and then they'll send you an email and you can go that route. Or to make things easier for you, because I know a lot of times you don't have time to check your email multiple times throughout the day, and because those emails are time sensitive, you can just shoot me an email, alos@childrenfirst.net, and I can go in and assign you a temporary password, and then I can email you back and let you know what that password is. You can get in with that password and then change it to something else. Sometimes there are little glitches in the system and we need to reach out to, our Teachstone contact, but they're really pretty helpful and quick about being helpful. So, just reach out to me and let me know if you're struggling getting in, and I can help you with that. All right. So then I'm going to log out as Casey. And I'm going to log in as Michelle Bundy. Thank you, Michelle, for letting me use your account today. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, Michelle is the regional manager in Region B. She is also a Teachstone Reliable Observer, as well as a Teachstone trainer for MMCI. So those of you that are supervisors and RMs, you might see some things in Michelle's dashboard that you might not have. And the reason being is because she's a trainer. Okay, but I'm going to go through the things that, like training panel is not something that you guys are going to have. Okay, so I'm not going to go through this tile right here. Michelle has that tile because she's a trainer. So I'm going to just jump in. We're going to go through each of these. You can type questions in the chat box as they come, and then we will stop and answer them. Okay, so again, I'm going to start with observation data. And now Michelle is an observer. So Michelle is an observer for infant, toddler, and pre-K. And you can see that she has completed 25 observations, okay, for the agency since we started utilizing this system. She doesn't have any upcoming ones. She doesn't have any in progress right now. The awaiting approval is because reliable observers have to submit their observations, and then they have to be viewed by either Bridget or myself as the administrators of this system, just to make sure that everything is completed, and then we approve them and they fall into the completed category. Okay, so you can just see that Michelle has completed all of these observations. If I clicked on any of them, which I'm not going to because this data is private, but if I clicked on these, and you can do this, on your own account with the observations that you have completed, you can click on these, and this is where you can see the results of the observation, as well as print any observation reports. If you want to, review those observations with your staff, or they've lost a copy and they've come and they've asked you for another one, if you clicked on these tiles, they do open up, okay? But again, I'm not going to do that now because that is private and personal to these classrooms. So I'm going to go back home. And again, I'm going to briefly go to learning resources.
So how to recommend.
And so you'll see that it looks very similar, okay, to the teacher account. The only thing that is different is this green recommend button right here, okay? So this gives you the capability of recommending resources to specific teachers, okay? So again, you can type into the search box if you know what you're looking for to send them, or you can filter. All of the filters are exactly the same as in the teacher account down the side, okay? I'm going to show you how easy it is to recommend a resource. So let's say I am going to recommend learn about positive climate. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to hit the green recommend button. Right now it says 0. Okay. I'm going to look through. I'm going to see what it is that I want to recommend. I'm going to come back to the learn about positive climate, but I'm just going to hit recommend. You'll see at the top now, it's changed to recommending one resource. I can click on as many as I want and add them into the queue here. And then when I'm done, I come to the right corner and hit continue. Okay, it's going to ask you, how do you want to recommend this resource? So RMs, ECDs are also in the system, not only as admin, but as coaches, so that you can recommend resources, okay? So you are gonna select that you are recommending this. You can either choose either one, okay? You choose admin, then you're gonna recommend who you're gonna recommend this to. Okay, Michelle is a regional manager. So Michelle oversees, she has the capability to oversee coaches or teachers as an admin, okay? But she's not necessarily gonna recommend anything to the coaches because she's not our supervisor. Bridget is. So she would just select teachers, okay? Then she's gonna choose her hierarchy level, okay? So Michelle is gonna choose region because she oversees a region as the regional manager. Then you're gonna see her region pop up right here. It's the only option that you have because you're all assigned to your own region. And then she has the ability to send this to all staff, or she can select a staff member, okay? So Marcy Brown, you are gonna be the lucky recipient of Learn About Positive Climate, okay? So when you see this, you'll remember that this is when it was sent to you, okay? So Michelle's gonna go down even further. She selected Marcy Brown, there's her name right there. Now, it's gonna say recommend, even if it has been recommended previously, recommended only if it hasn't been recommended in the past 30 days, right? So she has all of these options. Only if it hasn't been recommended previously. So we're gonna say we're gonna recommend it, even if it's been recommended previously. Then Michelle has the option of explaining her recommendation. So she could type in here and say, hey, Marcy, I'd like for you to check out this, resource on learning about positive climate, and maybe think about the following 3 key points, okay? And she might put, a couple of questions in there for Marcy to think about while she's going through this resource, okay? Then you've got to keep going all the way down. And what you're going to select is allow teachers to comment on this recommendation. And I'm going to click that because if I asked Marcy to think about some things, I want to give her the opportunity to be able to comment. And I'm going to select send an email to notify the user of this recommendation. If you don't click that button, they are not going to get the auto-generated email, okay? They will, however, still get their little alert that if they log in, they'll see it by their bell here, but they will not get the email unless you have selected that.
And we want them to get the email, so make sure you click that. And always make sure that you write a little note, even though it says optional, it's nice to just put a personal touch on there and, why you're sending this. And you do have a comment in this chat box.
Okay, then I hit send recommendation, and you see right here, it tells me that my recommendation has been sent successfully. Okay, let me go to the chat box. If you wanted to access observation data from previous coach, would your current coach be able to access that? So Trish, I just want to make sure I am understanding your question. If there was a coach that you had who did an observation you got your observation data. Now you have a new coach. Your new coach will be able to access that, okay? So this system follows teachers. So, and coaches and administrators are, the options can be changed, okay? So if your coach wasn't your coach last year, but this year she's your coach, her role is going to be changed in this system and you will be listed underneath her, okay? So then she will be able to access anything that pertains to you, okay? The data is linked to the teacher, so it follows you wherever you go. Should all the teachers be listed in the drop-down box? I only have 2 teachers listed on mine. Yes, so if you are assigned to a region, Sarah, all of them should be listed. I have the capability of going in and checking that, so I will do that for you. Okay. When we first started this system, it was kind of like a data dump. Yeah. Almost, yeah. We just had to like give a spreadsheet. Bridget like went blind creating this spreadsheet of, you know, everybody that needed to be entered into the system, email addresses, what their role, what their site, what this, and we've noticed errors, you know, that they've made once they were transferring, because we did not put that information into the system. Teachstone did that for us initially, and now we just add or remove any new people since the system has been set up. So Sarah, I can go in and look that up for you. Let me see. What does she say? I'm trying to scroll down. Okay, Trish said yes. Okay, gotcha, Sarah. All right, so now you see how easy it is to recommend a resource, okay? Let's go back home. And we don't have to do training panels, so we're gonna go to, it's the same thing, the training history. So this is all of the trainings that Michelle has attended personally, okay? Because this is also Michelle's personal account. So for those of you EDs and RMs, you've gone through your observation trainings, if you've gone through MMCI trainings, all of those things will show up in your training history as well, and you have the ability to download your certificates, okay? And then you'll notice that you have your certification status. So this one starts in 2012, which is when Michelle first became a pre-K observer. And then it goes through every recertification. So you can keep track of every time you recertified. Your observer certificates, however, are not housed here. They are housed in a different tab. And that is your certification tab, okay? So now we looked at this for teachers, and you'll remember all we saw was this top portion right here. But because you guys are reliable observers, you are going to have your information show up here, okay? So the majority of you are all 3, infant, pre-K, and toddler reliable observers. So you can come in here, and we ask that you come in here and keep track of your certification dates so that you know when you're due to recertify. You know, Bridget and I are really good about keeping track of this and reaching out to you guys when it's time to recertify, and we'll get the links and we'll send you those. But, you know, we're human too, and we don't ever want to overlook anything. So we, you know, it's good to just kind of keep track of your recertification dates. And then Michelle has certifications for MMCI, so the class group coaching, so those are here as well. Then you can see that you can download your certificate. So again, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to lose this page. But if I clicked on this, Michelle's most recent certificate is going to show up. Okay. So if you want to save your certificates year to year, you're either going to want to download them to your computer so that you have them, or print them out and keep physical copies, because every time you recertify, it just changes the date on what's here in the system. So you can't go back and get past certificates. You can only get your most current certificate. Okay, so you want to make sure that if you want to save those, that you download them to your own drive or computer. Okay, so that's certification. We went through training history, we did all this. So video library is something that Michelle has access to as a trainer, and sometimes throughout the year, if you are a reliable observer, sometimes they're nice enough and they give, like, you know, free months of video libraries. So you might see the video library in your account. I don't know why it's not opening right now, but what's in the video library that's different from the learning resources? The video library are those exemplar videos. So these are videos like the ones that you watch when, here it goes, it's just delayed. When you go through like observer training or MMCI training, right? So right here, if you are a certified class observer, you're going to have access to that resource village, okay? You will also have access to helpful resources for teachers, coaches, and parents. Michelle has the infant video library, okay? Michelle also has the class group coaching, which is MMCI, so you guys won't necessarily see this stuff, okay? But you're gonna see your observer stuff in here. And so if I clicked on that, as an observer, you have a resource village. You may or may not have known that. There is a welcome video that you can watch, and then you can find resources based on the age groups that you are an observer for. Okay, so this is just
one of the things I want to just point out, if you stop right there.
Yep.
When you're getting ready to recertify, this is a lovely piece of the system that you can go in and access this and start watching these videos so you can get some practice in before you have to take your test.
Yep. So like I just clicked on infant, and here are the exemplar videos that are shown during the infant observer reliability training. So you can go back and you can watch these videos again. You should have your participant guide that has, you know, the master code justification scores for all of these videos. If you've saved your materials from your training, you can go back and watch those again. Here's a recertification practice video, and they have these for every age group. There is a coding tip sheet, okay, that you can click on, and then there's a dimension activity. So if you're struggling, if you take your test the first time and you don't pass and you're going to take it the second time, you get a report. So print out that report, look at that report. It tells you how you were scoring each dimension. So if you notice that you're off on your scoring for a particular dimension, come here and do the dimension sorting activity. It's going to help you realize, like, okay, I keep putting this in language modeling, but it's really quality of feedback. So there's a lot of you know, helpful things on here as you guys go to recertify as an observer. And again, all of the age groups are here. Right now, they only have pre-K in Spanish, but that's there as well. Any questions? I don't see any. Okay. So again, just remember, when you click on yours and you go in, you don't see all of that stuff. Remember, a lot of that stuff is because Michelle is also a trainer. So all of our training materials are housed in this system. Okay. Again, My Courses is the same thing. If Michelle went through interactions at the Heart of Healing, that will be here. So yeah, she also has completed trainings in here. So this is where she finds her MMCI. This is where you guys will find your interactions at the Heart of Healing, and you can download your certificate. Okay, in the My Trainings. The more you just kind of come in and play around and click on things. Community, again, it's exactly the same. So you automatically become a member of the class learning community, and then you can go through and again, click on all groups and choose if you would like to join any other groups. The directories are in here. So if you're looking for, a specific member's profile, you can find people in here. You can look up other certified class observers if for any reason you're looking for that. So that you can find here as well. But it's exactly the same as the teacher one. When you are ready to recertify, and Bridget typically sends you the email with your key code to open up your test. That's what this activate product key is for. So you click on that button, you put in your key code, you click activate, and it immediately kicks off your recertification window for your test. Okay, so I just want to go back here for a second. How much time do we have? Okay, we still have time. So the other thing that you guys have the capability of doing, okay, you just have to click on any of those tiles. So I happen to click on observations, and then it brings you to this page where you'll notice you have other options across the top. These options are not, you don't see them across the top when you're in your dashboard. You have to click on any one of those tiles on your dashboard. So I clicked on observations and it brought me here. But now I've got all of these other tabs across the top that I didn't have before, okay? So the first one is users. So if I click on that and come in here, these are all of the staff that are assigned to Michelle in Region B. So this is all of Michelle's education staff listed here, okay, including her eds. You can see Judith and Brenda right there, and all of the teachers. Then My Teachers is where you have the capacity to create a group, okay? And you can either create a teacher group or you can create a coach group if Michelle had any coaches under her, because they assume that administrators, have coaches underneath them. But that's not how it's aligned here at Children First. So, but Michelle could go in and she could add a teacher group, okay? Just by clicking on it, she can create a group name. She can give a description of the group. So maybe this is, a group of teachers working on, language modeling, if that's, something that she's created. Then she's going to own this group as an admin, okay? And then she's going to start selecting the teachers, and I'm not going to do this because I don't want to create something in Michelle's account, but then you have the option to select the teachers that you want to add to this group, okay? Simply by clicking on their names. And so if I had clicked on someone, okay, and added them to this group, I add a group name. See, it's highlighted because it's telling me I forgot it. But once all of the information is filled in, this Save Group button will turn green, and you just click it and your group is saved. Then you can go into that group on the groups page here, click on your group. You can send the entire group resources at one time so that it goes to all of them at one time, and you don't have to send it to each of the individual teachers in the group. And so that's just another option that you guys have. The other option you guys have are reports, okay? So what you're looking at right now is a professional development report. This is where you can look at what your teachers have done, okay? So all-time teacher activity, it says that Michelle has 34 teachers. How many were recommended? Self-study is when teachers select something on their own, okay, and they complete it versus something being recommended to them. So when you see self-study, that's what that means, okay? And then this is where you can go in. I don't know why the mouse isn't moving, but it's not. Okay. So you can see the agency for Children First. Now these are Michelle's teachers, 47.817 hours have been recommended. This is how many have been completed. This is the completion percentage, okay? And then again, this is the self-directed. This is how many teachers, how many hours teachers have gone on themselves and have chosen resources. So here you can see a breakdown by region. Then in region B, if I select, you select your region, then you can go and look at all of your individual sites and break that down. You can filter it if you want to see if a specific teacher did something or all teachers. You can search that way.
Yeah, you click on the site.
Mm-hmm. You can change, you can filter it by the date. Like we'll click on Booker. Get that out of there. Okay, so I clicked on Booker and now it breaks down, okay, the teachers. Right now I can see that Latanda wasn't switched from Booker to MLK, so that's something that has to go in and be changed. Okay, so you can go through and you can look at all your different, there's professional development reports. You can look at observation reports. So that's the same thing as clicking on those tiles. But you can go in and choose, you know, pre-K, you can choose your region, you can choose your classroom, or you can just go through the observations tab and click on those tiles. This you can also do if you want to see across your sites. You can, you know, select different. If you go by region, you only have access to your own region. So, you know, region B, it's filtered to this month, so you can see it saying 0 completed. So you have to go back. You can click on the dates. Let's go back. Yeah, that's fine. To today. Why is it saying that? It didn't go. I'm going to go back to January. I'm looking from January 1 to now. You can see that 5 were completed in Michelle's region. And then it tells you, you know, Michelle can print out this report and see where her region is overall. She can take it down to the classroom level. She can look at the domains, and then she can look at the individual dimensions.
Which is real helpful when you're trying to do an individual professional development plan, mm-hmm. create resources for teachers to look at and view to increase scores.
Yep. And then this gives you the option of how you want to download it. Okay, so we can actually get an overall program report. We can print individual observations, okay? Individual observations with cycle details, and that's what you want because that's the one that has all of the notes, okay? We can print observations by region, or you can go in and you just can hit this and it'll print all of the reports for you. So the system is very user-friendly. It is very easy to use. You know, if after today you have any questions at all you need to do is shoot me an email, you know, and I can walk you through that. The professional development is your, see how it says my professional development? So that's your personal professional development, what you've taken. And then again, that same observations tile is on here as well as the learning resources. But the users, the My Teachers, the reports, okay, and my professional development do not show up on the home page, okay? So I just want to state it one more time. When you are trying to get to that stuff, you just need to click on any of these other tiles. I always just click on the first one. And then it brings me to the page, and then all of those tabs are there across the top. I don't know why it is that way. It's just how the system has this set up. So are there any questions? I'm not seeing any pop up in the chat box. You can also unmute yourself too and just throw a question out. You don't necessarily have to type it in the chat box.
They're not coming in here?
Okay, I saw something. Hold on. I have to open. Oh, thank you, Dorothy. Dorothy is the newest infant toddler specialist at OMH. Well, welcome to Children First, Dorothy. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen right now. And if anybody has any other questions, again, it's a great system. We've had it for several years now, and we will, you know, we're really trying to put a push for using this system more. It is the expectation that it's going to be used for coaching. So again, you know, teachers who are having a hard time getting in, I've had a couple reach out to me. And like I said, if I can't fix it in the moment, then we have a Teachstone contact that we reach out to, and she's really good at trying to help us figure these things out. So after today, the first thing you guys are going to want to do is go to teachstone.com and try and get in. And if for some reason you have any trouble, you're going to send an email to alos@childrensfirst.net, and I will do what I can to help you guys get in.
And just remember that if you are being recommended resources to view, that the expectation is that you're going to go in and you're going to view them, because you can see the reports are there for us to track that.
Yes. So as your coaches, as your supervisor, as your regional manager, we can see whether or not you guys did them. And it is to your benefit to go in and do that. And again, like I said, they're minutes long. They're not really all that long. So, you know, nap time, whenever you get a free minute, just try and, you know, pop on there once a week.
Well, we thank you definitely for your time today. We know 90 minutes is a long time to sit and listen, even though it was a nice demonstration. So we thank you, and we hope you have a good lunchtime. The next workshop starts at 1:30.
Thank you for your time, guys. Again, any questions, just send me an email.